So you ready?
Yeah.
All right, let's do this. Giggle gang, it's your girl Irene. I'm back. I'm back sooner than later, I guess you can say. I know y'all are holding me accountable, but yes, I'm back with another dope episode of FSG podcast. And this week, I got a special guest. I like to call her my young Spike Lee, my personal Lena Waithe, my
Yes,
future my future Steven Spielberg, my young Ava DuVernay, and then Miss Shayla Span. What's up?
Hey, what's up?
Tell the Giggle Gang, hey, what's going on?
Nothing much, nothing much. First, let me say it's Shayla Raquel. That's my moniker. You know, like you got the.
Hey, get me together. Get me
You know,
together, Shayla Raquel.
the last name is my government name. You know, 95, 85, and 9. You know, all that good stuff. So
You don't even have to worry about that. I'm gonna cut that. I'm gonna cut that out. I'm gonna cut that out. I don't want no problems. You won't hear that in the finish. You won't hear that in the finished edit. You're right.
it's
That's
all good.
everything is Shayla Raquel. I always see
yeah.
that Raquel. So yes, you're absolutely right. Welcome to the show.
I'm happy to be here.
I'm so happy to have you. You've been around for quite some time. You've done some work for FSG, and I'm just loving what you're doing out here as far as stepping out on faith and doing this doing this film thing. So I'm gonna get into your business in a little bit, but before I get into that, like it's what, the beginning of March, beginning of spring. What you been up to? Like, what's been popping?
Nothing much. So we're wrapping up the film festival circuit for my latest short film. So we got about 15. That's actually a good number. I know it sounds like a lot, but that's actually a good number.
Okay.
We have about 15 film festivals left throughout the year 2019. But we got a few people interested in acquiring it. So I got a few contracts in the inbox. I just gotta find me a dope FAMU entertainment lawyer to review these contracts and get it sold off to whoever wants it.
I see you, kid. I see you.
Okay. Yeah, it's been a really dope journey. This has been an experience, a huge learning experience. It's like, it's one thing going to like film school, but it's another thing to just actually just dive in and do it. And I feel like I learned so much. Even though I went to film school, I learned so much in this whole process of just diving head first in and getting it done.
Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and dive in right into your business. Tell us about yourself. Like, how did you get into film? What's been your journey thus far?
Definitely. So I've probably loved film as a medium, well, the arts, but film as a medium probably since I was a little kid. I've always been into theater. I was one of those type of kids, and my mom would have me like going up and on stage in church and things of that sort, and stage plays in like elementary school. But I didn't think of film as a thing until like I hit 12 years old. My dad had a camera, and I had a stroke because of my sickle cell disease. And so with having that stroke, I kind of resulted to storytelling and writing as an outlet in order to cope with everything that I was going through. And it kind of took off from there. I'm the oldest of 9 probably more than 9 grandchildren. So I would get them together. We would make like plays. I would tape them. I carried that on through high school, carried that on through college. Was doing all the Greeks and all the dorms videos for everything. And even though I wasn't majoring in film at the time, because I still didn't see film as a career, I just saw it as like a fun thing that I really enjoyed during a time when people weren't really doing it like that. It wasn't the YouTube time period. So I did it through college. Once I graduated from college, got me a job in DC as an IT specialist. Wasn't happy with where I was in life. Decided to put the pen to paper and write about it. And then my very first film project, which was a web series, Quarter Century, was born, which was me basically coping with that pre-quarter life crisis.
Right.
And that project got me into film school, did a few more projects there, and just recently graduated from film school in 2018.
Where'd you go to
While
school?
I went to American University.
Okay. Okay.
Yep. And so it's been kind of taking off. My thesis film um, is the film that I've been on the film festival circuit now, and it's been kind of taking off since then. So yeah, it's been a really dope journey.
That's really dope. So you sound like you have gone the modern day route. And
Hmm.
when I say the modern day route, I'm talking about the route of going through YouTube and,
Hmm.
well, first, picking up a camera and doing, offshoot type of things, right? You did
Hmm.
through while you were growing up in college and things of that sort. And then you use YouTube as an outlet with Quarter Century.
Hmm.
What was that like? Like breaking into the YouTube? Because I went back to Quarter Century and I'm like, yo, it's like 27,000 views. Like you had some people up here watching this, watching this. I know I watched. I was really into it, and you had the merchandise and all that other stuff. But
Yeah.
like, did you? I feel like I know the answer, but I want to hear you say this. Like, did you have an inspiration? Were there people that showed you, okay, yeah, I can actually use this space to get my thoughts and my creativity out? Because you did it relatively early as well. Like it wasn't around the time where everybody was on YouTube.
No. So, I mean, of course, Issa Rae, like
Yeah.
she really was groundbreaking in what she did, and she made every little Black girl like me feel like, oh, we can definitely do this. And
Right.
so I can remember watching Awkward Black Girl when I was in college and coming out of college, and just feeling so inspired because I really saw myself in the character and then just what she was doing. And I just remember watching and saying, I know I can do this. So even like I didn't waste time with it. Like I didn't like watch Awkward Black Girl and just wait a whole bunch of years. Like no, I think Awkward Black Girl was like 2011, 2012. I started working on Quarter Century in 2012 after like seeing it, and we were able to like put it out in 2013. But all on side of Issa Rae, there was another. She actually went to FAMU too. Her name was Jeanette McDuffie, and
Hmm.
they were actually the pioneers of the web series game. They did Milk and Honey, and
I
they
remember that. I watched
exactly
Milk and Honey.
Exactly. And so like I think they only had like 3 episodes. They were so well done. It just kind of broke the mold. They ended up getting like Idris Elba on it, but it ended up getting shelved because everyone didn't believe in the web series as a form at the time. Awkward Black
Right.
Girl didn't exist. That came out like when I was like in college.
Right.
And so I remembered that. And then I remembered like basically Issa taking that and running with it. And that was just like the inspiration for me. I was like, I could do it too. And I think at the time, like I didn't even really care if people watched it or not. Like when I started noticing like the views going up, it wasn't until like maybe the last couple of years, like like going back and saying, oh man, like I didn't realize they even had this many views.
Right.
I think at the time it was just like I needed an outlet. I was working at a job it wasn't my passion. And I think I was probably like 23, 25 was coming up. You know, everybody make this big deal
Hmm.
on 25, and I just wanted something concrete that made me feel like, you know, at the end of the day, you are where you are supposed to be. And Quarter Century was definitely that. And um, yeah. People
Yeah.
ask me all the time, like, if I'm gonna ever do a third season.
Yeah, because
And
I'm like, the second season, I saw the progression. I was like, okay, they got not
new
necessarily new
cameras.
cameras. They got businesses like sponsors. Like, okay, they got product placement and shit. I said, okay, like they're doing their thing because I felt like it felt like you were doing, you weren't just producing and directing a show, but you were also putting local businesses on the map. So it was
That was
like,
the biggest
okay,
point.
yeah, and I thought that was really dope. I'm like, okay, so if you are in the DC area, or I think one season you guys filmed in New York, like go here to eat or whatever, like, or people who were in that area would recognize it, and essentially you would be able to go. And then like at the end of the show, you would actually have the name of the business there. So I thought that was dope, like just to see that happening. And I knew that you were going to say Issa Rae, because I love Issa as well. And I just think it's really dope because she's on the cover of Essence magazine, this for the latest issue. And I was reading her post on Instagram, and she was talking about how a few years ago they had put her on the cover with the likes of Ava DuVernay and some other people. Their names escape me, but some heavy hitters, some heavy hitting, Black women on this cover, and how she was standing there and she was like, I don't even understand how I got to this point. Like, I was just so grateful to be on the cover with these icons, with these legends. And now Essence has given me my own cover. And I'm reading her words and I'm like, you know what? I really appreciate her humility. Like, that's a beautiful thing, right? Mm-hmm. But I'm looking at it, I'm like, sis, what are you talking? Like, you are a trailblazer. Like, you are groundbreaking. Like, you are one of the reasons why people go to YouTube, why there are YouTube stars, like who have doors, like that have broken the barriers and said, okay, yes, Hollywood, yes, industry, like you have to see me, like I'm here. And now you're going into the 4th season of your show on HBO, like you out here doing movies, like take it all in, like it's well deserved. So just to hear you say that, like I'm just inspired by so many of y'all, because y'all just out here doing dope shit and sometimes not even realizing it, like, oh, this is what I want to do. It's like, girl, keep doing it, because you are inspiring people to do great things. So all right, that's what's up. Shout out to you and Quarter Century. So Riverman, talk to us about that. Like, this has been a process. Like, you've been working on Riverman for a while, a very long time. Like, yes. So, and now you're on the circuit and you got contracts in your inbox. So tell us what you can tell us about that process.
So Riverman is a short film. It's not a feature. It was my thesis film project in order to receive my Master's of Fine Arts in Film Electronic Media. And I actually, this has been a 3-year process. I started in 2015. I didn't finish it until February 2018. I got the idea a long time ago, though, way before then, based off of a conversation with my grandmother. And basically the film is a conversation between 2 different generations, while also highlighting post-traumatic stress that African Americans deal with for being minorities in America. And it's a pretty heavy film. But it is a narrative. It's not a documentary. And it follows a grandmother who was a civil rights activist back in her day in the 1960s. And when she has grandchildren, she tells her grandchildren all of these stories about everything that she endured. So her grandchildren, they grow up racially aware, particularly her granddaughter, Tina. She grows up racially aware and she goes off to college and she's fighting. She becomes an activist in her own right, fighting for against discrimination that's happening on her college campus. But when she takes it out of the proposed safe boundaries of school, her grandmother fears for her safety and her sanity. And it just follows these 2 very dynamic women and dynamic characters as they have a conversation about the differences, the similarities and differences between the movements, while saying at the end of the day, we're still fighting that same fight. And we need to work together. There needs to be solidarity between these 2 generations, because in another 50 years, we as the millennials, we don't want to be our grandchildren to be fighting the same fight as well. And so that is pretty much the premise of the film. It has a huge twist, I guess you could say, within it. And I started writing it in 2015. I had pitched it to 2 good friends who were in my cohort, and they fell in love with the idea. They signed on as my producers, and they took it and just ran with it. And we shot in the end of, we did a fundraiser in the summer of 2016. We did a Kickstarter, raised about $21,000 in the Kickstarter. And then we did like little events to raise the other money that we needed. We started shooting in 2016, ran into every problem we could possibly think of.
Yes.
So because that's just how film life is. So we stopped, we regrouped. We took some months off, let everyone rest, and then we started shooting again in March of 2017, and we wrapped in April of 2017. And then the rest of 2017 into 2018 was just post-production. And so once we wrapped with post-production, we hit the ground running. And so we've been officially selected into over 30 film festivals. And we have won 11 awards,
Wow.
all in all. And people have really loved the film. It's been some really good commentary. It's been some really good conversations about it, and that makes me happy because the film was very, 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 very loosely based off of a true story. I made the film based off of a conversation me and my actual grandmother had, who grew up in South Carolina in the 40s and 50s and 60s. And so it's kind of blossomed from there. I'm really proud of it. I think with every filmmaker, we are our own worst critic. There is no one who could probably downplay your work more than like an actual filmmaker who is viewing their work on a consistent basis. So, but I am proud of it, what it's done. I think that it is propelling me forward, which was the goal in making the film, propelling my career forward. And I can't wait to get started on the next project.
So why do you think it's important to make a film like this?
Why do I think it was important to make a film? I just really wanted to have a conversation between two generations. I was noticing that a lot of the critiques at the time when Black Lives Matter was like such a huge topic,
right?
A lot of the critiques that was coming from about the Black Lives Matter, which I mean, the movement is not above critique at all. But a lot of the critiques that was coming from it was coming from people who were involved in the civil rights movement. And then vice versa. I was seeing people who were heavily involved in Black Lives Matter critiquing the civil rights movement and saying things like, you know, if y'all did what y'all had to do, we wouldn't be fighting these things now.
Right.
And I just wanted to show a dialogue between the two where both are expressing their points, and which are valid points. Both have valid points. But at the end of the day, like, we have to stop all of that because at the end, we have to continue this fight on and we need each other. They laid down the blueprint. They got us started. And because of what they did, we are a little bit further than we were back then, but still we have a long way to go. And unfortunately, as our ancestors have said before, the youth inherit the movement. So that was just the point of the premise of the film. And I just really wanted to drive home that point with it.
That's dope. That's dope. Well, I'm super, super proud of you. I don't want you to tell too much more of the story because I want folks to go out and see the film. I know that, you know, like you mentioned, you are on the film festival circuit right now. What's been your favorite festival to attend, or which one are you excited about attending the most? I know you're excited about all of them, but you know.
Yeah, I've been excited about all of them. My two favorites were definitely Black Star and Bronze Lens. Bronze Lens was in Atlanta. We actually won an award at Bronze Lens. And the thing about film festivals is that, especially ones that are niche, like I pretty much dived into like film festivals that cater to African Americans. They not only lay out the red carpet for you, but they want to make sure that the film that you have premiering there isn't your last film. So with Bronze Lens, they had it. The sponsors were BET Her, and Turner, and like when I tell you, like they had meetings with us. We stay in contact with the Turner executives at all time. They were telling us, okay, please keep in contact with us if you guys need agents, if you guys need this. They show our films to different executives whenever they need it. And that's how I actually got a lot of the contracts that I have wanting to acquire it from those film festivals.
Oh, that's
so
dope.
It was,
sounds like they're cultivating the next
exactly.
crop of directors and creatives.
Yeah, when people think of film festivals, they're thinking Sundance, South by Southwest, but they're so big. It's like, if you not like the huge film that already has millions of dollars,
you're gonna get swallowed up. Yeah,
exactly. So being in and even though Bronze Lens is pretty huge, especially to have them cater to us as filmmakers in that way and actually really care about our trajectory into this industry, it just really meant a lot. And I felt the same way about Black Star. Black Star is in Philadelphia. And that's a pretty big name one as well. And it was just the vibe of it was just so dope. It was just such a dope film festival. So
That's
yeah.
dope. That's dope. Well, good luck in the future. I hope you get way more awards. I hope you get many, many more awards. I hope you get many, many more contracts. And I'm super proud of you. After Riverment, like, do you have ideas? I'm sure you do. But like, what's next?
Oh,
Like,
I'm completely diving into the feature market. I'm ready. I know I could do it.
okay.
So
Okay.
I already have a feature idea. I've been writing it. About to, once I get to um, into the draft process where I'm comfortable enough, I'm gonna get script coverage, put in some script writing film festivals in order to get a little bit of capital to get started, to fundraise, and then we're gonna get started on this journey all over again. And
I
I'm trying to
love
shoot
it.
it in Atlanta, so just letting for all the Atlanta peeps out there. That's where
Yes,
I'm trying
Atlanta
to
Giggle
shoot.
Gang, hold Shayla down. And Atlanta's a big market for the film industry. Like, it's not just
Exactly.
Hollywood. Atlanta's dope. Atlanta's huge. Okay, I see you. So I see that you. It seems as if, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, that you said you're bypassing the. And I say I don't want to say bypassing. You're not really looking to do television right now per se. Like, you are film. Like,
Yeah.
you've done a short film, and you just mentioned, you're trying to do the feature film right now. Is there like a, I don't want to say, not is there a difference, but what what typically drives a creative to say, I want to focus on television or short film or feature film, like you're saying?
It really just depends on the creative. I like how the finiteness of that's even a word, of film. It's like you make a film and it's done. Like that's
Right.
it.
That's
When
it.
television, you first of all, as a writer, if you're a writer on television, you're writing with a team. It's not just you by yourself. So that
Right.
means you have to filmmaking is a team sport, period. But like it doesn't with film and writing, it doesn't necessarily have to be. You can
Right.
write in your isolation, and then when you're ready to produce it, then you need your team.
Right.
But with television, it's a team thing all the way through, and you're hitting quotas. Like you're constantly trying to make sure your television show is getting renewed for that next season.
Right.
And I at one point I did think I want to do television. Then I visited LA for a film festival for a Pan African and talked to a couple of television writers, and I was like, nah, I think
Yeah.
I'm gonna stay on the East Coast and just do it that way. And that was one of the things they said. It was like, you got the East Coast hustle. I'm just like, yeah, I'm gonna just keep on hustling.
Right, right. I feel you. To each his own. To each his own.
Yeah.
I always wonder that. I always ask my creative friends, like, what makes you choose this particular route instead of that route? So,
Yes.
all
It's
right,
just your preference.
that makes sense. So, like I said at the top of the show, we're doing things a little bit out of order for a specific reason, and y'all will understand that when we get to that point. So, I'm gonna go back to what I typically do and ask you, what is the most ridiculous, Shayla, for you? What is the most ridiculous thing that you've had to do on set?
So on set, it's not really much ridiculousness that I have to do. I'm a ridiculous person. I like to bring like happiness and joy to my sets.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a funny person. Like if you ask any of my characters, it's like I'm trying to make the set as light as possible. But at the same time, when you are a director, you have to like maintain like control and you have to maintain safety. So I have not done anything ridiculous. However, I have definitely asked my cast and crew members to do
Oh Lord.
ridiculous stuff, and I've asked
You
them.
said all of that. I'm
All
sitting here
right.
like, where is she going with this? Answer my question, dude.
No,
Here
but
you
I
go.
have definitely
What did
asked
you
my cast to do some ridiculous stuff. So, like for instance, for Rivermint, there's a riot scene. Like I actually shot a riot. And the whole story behind that is long, but I shot a riot scene for Rivermint.
wow. Okay.
And in the riot scene, I made one of my character members like run up onto the hood of my car because no one else wanted to volunteer that car. And I understand. I made him run up to the hood of my car, start yelling, hands up, don't shoot. And then I made a actor who was acting as a police officer throw him down from the car onto the pavement. So yes.
What?
And I was just like, it was really some, do you trust me? Do you trust me?
Oh,
type
you was in
stuff.
your bag. You was in your bag for real.
I was in
Okay.
it, but no, I've hired some great stunt people to
I
make
was gonna say, did you
sure.
have stunt people? Did you have a mattress out
Yeah,
there?
but
Like,
he was not the person that had to do it. He was not a stunt person. So it's like you had all these stunt people around who could have done it safely, but we had to train him to quit in that little moment, hurry up and learn how to do a quick stunt. Then in the same shoot, like I had to basically someone had to bash a window at the car. And of course, no one wants to bash a window at the car, their car. So I had to volunteer my car. So watching someone continuously swing a bat towards my car door window, that was pretty ridiculous.
but they didn't actually crack.
Nah, they didn't actually break it.
Okay.
Which is a good thing. I don't
You
know if insurance covers filming.
no, they do not. You better get some CGI up there with the.
Right. I see now we talking about my pay grade. Like
You know what? You're right. You're right. You're not there yet. My bad. My bad. My bad.
We
Okay.
working on it though. We working on it.
Okay, I see. All right, good. Well, that was a good. What's the most ridiculous? I appreciate you for obliging. We're gonna go ahead and get into the water cooler. Really quickly, your boy Jesse. I say your boy because you know he's an actor. You're a director. I don't know. Anyway, yeah. So Jussie Smollett has had all of his charges dropped.
Mm-hmm.
And that just happened this afternoon, maybe a couple of hours ago. And you know, I'm glad that he's not going to jail. I'm glad that he's not going to jail. However, I'm kind of confused. I'm very confused as to the amount of caping that I'm seeing going on. From people on the internet, like, you know, justice was served. He should have never been charged. This is a black man, yada, 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 yada. And I'm like, I hear you, bruh. Like, sis, I hear you. You're right. Like, it was ridiculous. 16 felony charges. Like, come on. But Jussie did this. Like,
But do we know that though? Do we know for sure that he did? And that was my thing. I was one of those type people when it first even came out, I just wouldn't speak on it. Like
me neither.
Everyone,
and I believe
it. Yeah. Like I wasn't gonna speak on it because I just felt like Chicago PD was moving weird for me.
They were.
And so that was my whole entire focus. It was just like, yeah, you're like Jussie, especially listening to like friends from Chicago. I was like, yeah, I mean, it sounds weird, but we as human beings, we're weird. Like we do weird stuff. Like,
right.
So I don't know about that, but Chicago PD, the ones who literally just covered up Laquan McDonald, y'all moving kind of weird.
Yeah, y'all doing a lot. Like y'all, that was the thing. Like all of it was weird for me. All of it was weird.
The entire story was weird. The rollout, the continuous updates, even down to like how the media was reacting to it. It was like nothing ever said like Chicago PD or whatever. It just kept saying sources.
Right.
So like me and this is also something I just wish a lot of people just did. I just was like, let's just chill and just wait till it all come out because it's gonna come out.
But that's the thing, Shayla. You're on social media all the time. That's not a thing. There's no such thing as just chill.
There's no such thing as that. There's no such thing as nuance. It's no such thing as nuance. And so that's why I was just like, well, so when it hit that the charges were dropped, I immediately was just like, okay, so where's Chicago PD's tweets? One, and then two, for just reading the article, for it to have been sealed, Chicago PD must have messed up somewhere.
Oh, they absolutely did.
Even if he did, we don't know unless it comes out. We don't know if he did or not. Whatever. Let's just say he did. Right? He did lie. Chicago PD done messed up something in there. And if he didn't lie, Chicago PD was trying to do this thing from the get-go. And either side, it was Chicago PD. Like,
so from the I hear you, and I'll say this, and I said this when this is what I said the first time that it happened when we first heard about this. Obviously, something happened that is nobody's business but Jesse's.
Yeah.
And some way, somehow, the police were involved. So
Mhm.
that's where my confusion continues, because I'm like, why were the police involved from the jump? Like, Jesse was doing something that he didn't want anybody to know. Do I judge him for that? Absolutely not. Everybody, like, listen, I know me. So no, I'm not judging you, Jesse.
Yeah.
Like, there's shit that
Now, will
happens that
I
you're
be
like,
out at 2 a.m. in the morning in negative 50 degrees? No.
that's where I'm like, what?
Hey,
Huh? Like, why
maybe
is
he
this?
really wanted Subway. Maybe he had a
Maybe,
craving he couldn't get.
maybe. But the fact that let's not forget that the two Nigerians, my cousins, they did come out and say that Jesse paid them to do this, to fake, like, go
But
ahead.
they didn't. So no. There was an update. They said that and that was like a huge critical point. They said that no, they didn't do it. They didn't do it to hurt like him. They did it. No, I don't know about the whole the fighting part, but the Nigerian brother said that no, he paid them for fitness. He didn't pay them to like get beat up or
So
whatever.
then,
And
but
so now the rumors are that they wasn't the ones that they never said that they were the ones who beat him up at all. Chicago PD just kind of put that out into the
they put
media.
that out there. Okay,
Yeah.
so then what about the video footage of them buying the MAGA hats, all that stuff?
All that is weird. And that's all I
That's
can say. Like, that is weird.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Like, when we start pulling back the layers, because the story is so complex and convoluted that it's easy to forget little details like that. But these are major details. Like, yes, you're right. Okay, he lied about something. We don't know what he lied about, but there's actual video footage of these two guys in a store, barefaced and all, buying rope, buying MAGA hats. Like, what? Why?
I think though, at the end of the day,
No, you
with
ain't right.
16 counts, if
It
they
was
really wanted
stupid.
him to go to jail, he would have went. I mean, he would
That's
have
the
got
thing.
something. Yeah.
The 16 counts was excessive.
It was.
The charges at minimum were just the
Community
charges.
service.
Yeah, the charges in general were just fucking ridiculous. Like,
But if
let's
they
not even
wanted,
go there. Like, you know
we're
how many
talking
people,
about
how
an
many times
institution.
white people call the police for some bullshit? They don't get
Exactly.
arrested. Like, what are we doing? So,
But my thing is, like, if with them being the institution that they are, this is the police we're talking about. If they really wanted him to go to jail, he would have went to jail.
exactly, he would have.
So
That's why I was like, I know Jesse didn't start his new year and say, hey man,
I ain't got a dog in this fight.
listen, it's 2019. I know he didn't wake up January 1st and was like, yo, I'm gonna get 16 felony counts sometime about mid-May. Like, I mean mid-February. He like, so this is just, all of it is weird. All of it is weird, but God bless him. I'm
right,
curious.
just like I'm praying for him.
I'm curious to see what happens.
Yeah, it came out that he's like I think he's going through like an addiction issue.
Yeah,
my heart goes out to him.
It's just a lot. It's a lot where I'm like, I'll try not to judge, but I am, because you swallowed my timeline with all this bullshit. Like, that's the other thing. People be like, "Oh, you got people got an opinion."
None of this.
Right? Like, I did not ask for this, but it's all over my Twitter. It's all over my Facebook. It's all over my Instagram. It's all over my newsfeed. Like, so I have to have an opinion about it. Like, that's just what that is.
Yeah.
Speaking of having an opinion and, just randomness and people doing the most on social media. So originally I was going to talk about Cardi B and her wanting to trademark Oker. I don't know if I said that right. Which I'm like, hey, Cardi, get your money. People had something to say. Whatever. It's cool. It's whatever. But just today, Cardi's in the news. There's a hashtag surviving Cardi B. Somebody, like they typically do, anyone who is doing well or what have you, went back to a post, a social media. I think it was an Instagram post that she made about 3 years ago about the things that she did in her former life. And she talks about how when she was a stripper, she would get guys to go back to a room with her, whether it be a hotel or whatnot, drug them and rob them. Which is
I done missed it. Hold
yes,
on.
yes. This is hot off the presses. And this is something that I've heard of before. Like, I'm from Miami. I
Yeah.
know people who have, stripped dance. I've heard these stories, how they get guys, and vice versa.
Yeah.
So there's this whole thing about, oh, Cardi was out here raping men. And it's like, okay, now, sir, now y'all listen, y'all be doing the
Yeah,
most.
and then I think I just saw on I didn't read, but I saw on Facebook someone trying to compare her to Bill Cosby, and I was just like, scroll, scroll, scroll. I ain't got the time. Like
Right. That's exactly what they were doing. That's
I I haven't read up on it, so I don't really have like a
an opinion.
intelligent
Yeah.
opinion on it right now. But I grew up in South Carolina. I grew up in Columbus, South Carolina. I mean, most people don't know about it, but it's the country hood. So I have known people to have who do stuff like
Right.
that.
Right.
But it's kind of like the same. What was her name? Centonia. Like you have Johns and people people set them up and they get robbed.
Right.
But you kind of with that safety. Like I'm not saying it's right at all,
But that's the culture.
yeah,
And
that is the culture. When you give your money to a woman and asking for services, you are asking to get robbed.
yeah,
But
you
can I
are.
make a quick joke?
Before you make the joke, because people are trying to, I hate when people take a movement and they try to flip it on its
Yeah,
head and be like, oh, these bitches be out here doing this shit too. Understand that a lot of these times there are men at the helm of this who are it ain't the girl that's robbing the dude, like it's the dude
Antonio
with a
Brown.
gun. Like, let's not if we gonna talk about it, let's talk about it. Like, let's really talk about all of the pieces of this. So
Mhm.
my only thing about this, or my one I guess my advice to Cardi B would be, and I think she knows this now because she's a superstar now, and this is something that she said 3 years ago. I don't think it's gonna hurt her money. I don't think it's gonna affect her getting the bag or anything like this. But as creatives, that's you, Shayla, that's me, that's anybody who likes to be on social media or what have you. And even if you're not a creative, just anyone who has something to lose.
Hey man, talk about
Sh-
it.
Shut the fuck up. Okay?
That was it.
That's
Thank
it.
you. You completely you said
Stop,
everything.
stop talking.
Just stop.
You
Just
don't
stop.
have to post. That's the thing. You don't have to post everything.
Stop.
Like,
I'm not
as
even.
much
I
as
don't.
I'm on social media, there's so much that I don't post because I'm like, this ain't everybody's business. Like,
Yo,
it's just not. Like, some people might like it if I did post it, and some people might be offended. Like, but it's my business. Like, everybody don't have to know everything about what you did. Like, you could have grown up in the hood, or could have been a dancer, this, that, and the other. You don't have to talk about every little bitty detail of what you did, because that shit is going to come back and bite you. Like,
period.
people
Period.
scrub people get paid. Some people don't even get paid. Some people just sit around at their house on their computer looking for dirt on you.
The
I'm
shade room.
sure
Sit in the
there's some
comment
shit.
section.
Right. I'm sure there's some shit that I have said on Twitter years ago that may one day come back and bite me in the ass.
Let me tell you, no. The moment my film started getting just even a teensy bits of traction, I scrubbed my tweets.
Yeah.
You will not find a tweet past
You know
2016
what? You're
on my
right.
timeline. Because
Let me
you
take
have
that
to
back.
protect
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah, let
You
me
have
take that back. I've always been, I've always, my mama used to say this about me. I've always been sneaky. Like,
yeah,
so
nah,
no, you're right. Like, yeah, you're not gonna find shit about what I have going on social media. Like, yeah, it's just
exactly.
you're not supposed to. Like,
Not everything needs to be shared.
yeah,
Enjoy your moment. You're having, and you're this not even just a moment. This is going to be a big thing for you.
right.
Like life is a big thing right now. Don't ruin it by just constantly talking. Like you don't have to do that.
And I
Like
get it. Like, she didn't know at the time. Like, I'm sure 3 years ago, Cardi B was on she wasn't even on Love and Hip Hop yet. Probably, or maybe just getting on to Love and Hip Hop. And I think she only did Love and Hip Hop, what, 1 season, 2 seasons?
yeah.
And then she took off. So I get it. Sometimes you just don't know, but I hope that this is a lesson for not only Cardi, but for everybody. Like, listen, take Shayla's advice, go back and scrub your tweets. And they be coming after Kevin Hart's neck for shit he said years ago, even though I don't see it for Kevin, but that's a whole nother conversation. But yeah, like go back, like do what you got to do because
and think about the things you're saying before you say it. Like
yes,
you have something to protect. These other people, they don't. They
right.
don't have anything.
They
So
don't give a fuck. They don't. They
protect
don't.
yourself.
Yes, absolutely. Strap it up. I don't know. Um, I don't know if you follow this. The Mueller report was released, and the Attorney General basically is saying that Trump did no wrong. I'm confused about the whole situation because this report, Mueller has not said anything publicly. No one has read it outside of the Attorney General, I believe, and
Yeah,
a
they
few
won't
other.
release it to the public.
So it's like y'all hiding something. Like what's y'all got to tell us more than that. Like
Did you
this
see
has
the
been.
update on it?
You said
Did
what?
you see the update? So basically, the attorney general came back and was like, no, it's not going to take months for us to release the report to the public. But what we want to do first is we want to go through it, and then we want to send it to the White House and make sure they don't have any redactions. And I'm just like,
No,
no, we want the full. I want all 3,000 pages. I don't care
we
if
need to see it all because you hiding something, my nigga.
yeah.
You went
So
into the job saying, "Listen, we're not going to indict a sitting president." So we already know what the bullshit that you were on.
and if
Like,
turtleneck is keep knocking everything down and saying that we can't, then no, we're not. No, something's up, and I think the public deserves to know. Like y'all,
absolutely.
y'all can't keep saying this is American society. We do things differently, and then
No.
y'all sit here and y'all basically got a dictatorship going on. Like no, so
So yeah, I'm gonna have to tap into some of my political friends. I'm gonna have to hit up Melru
and
and
and you
KG because I'm dumbfounded. I'm flabbergasted. I'm like, yo, we
yeah,
did all this and we can't even see the report. Like, what the fuck? So that's that. And then the last thing that I want to talk about, the reason why I have Miss Shayla Raquel on the show. So last week, Jordan Peele's second feature film,
mhm.
Us, was premiered, debuted. I believe it was number one at the box office.
Yes,
Um,
breaking records.
breaking records for Thursday night openings and weekend openings and just doing great things.
Mhm.
So me being the black Negro that I am, I was like, listen, I'm going to see this film because I saw Get Out. I'm not expecting it to be the same as Get Out, but like Get Out, I didn't know what I was going into. I knew nothing about Us. Like I saw the previews, but the previews did not tell you anything other than there's a family and then they have
Twin.
their twins, the doppelgangers. Like what's okay, so what's going on? So Sunday I went to the movies with two of my friends, who I like to say have good sense. We have college degrees, we love entertainment, we have all these things that will equip us for a good time. Because knowing Jordan Peele, we're like, listen, this is just not a regular movie. Like there's going to be symbolism, there're going to be things, we're going to have a conversation at the end of the movie. Like that's just what we're going to do. So I'm gonna preface this with spoiler alert because I want to get into this movie. So if you have not watched the movie yet and you plan to watch it, press pause here, go watch the movie, and then come back and pick it up. But if you have watched the movie, hopefully this discussion will be entertaining. So we go to the movies and I sit there for what was it, like an hour and 40 minutes, 2 hours or whatever. And I'm watching the film and I'm seeing all the I'm taking the film in, but in the back of my head, I'm also like thinking because I'm like, okay, all right, cool. All right, cool. Okay, I saw that. Okay, I saw that symbolism. Okay, cool, 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 cool. And I'm watching it, and the movie is progressing, it's going, and then we get to the end of the film, and I'm like, what the fuck did I just watch? Like, I don't understand. So in the film, you have is it Allendale? What was her name? How
I've
do
been
you
calling her Adelaide.
Adelaide? Yeah,
I don't
Adelaide and Ray.
know.
So
It might be
Adelaide, we gonna say Lupita's character. Lupita's
Lupita.
character is married to is M'Baku.
Yep.
I was like, am I watching Black Panther or Us?
Yeah.
Like, what's going on? I love to see them on screen.
Winston Duke, though,
Yes, Winston.
he was definitely Winston in this, though. I
Yeah.
wasn't. I was not getting M'Baku vibes
At all, because I was like, bruh,
no M'Baku.
bruh, like,
really,
you too big to not be helpful. Like, what the fuck?
Like, can we say something right there?
Please go ahead.
Let me. And I tweeted this. I have an incognito account because my Twitter account is like my professional account, and I try not to be too much of a rat there. Okay. But I had to say this on my incognito account. He could, and this is shade. This is pure shade, and I'm saying this as a person who did a semester at Howard. I am very happy he had on that Howard sweatshirt.
No, he made Howard look stupid.
At my point, there is no way you can be that useless of a character and wear a Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University October 3rd, 1887 sweatshirt. He was so. How can you be? Yeah. If you're gonna be that useless, you needed to wear somebody else's sweatshirt,
but hey,
not my alma mater sweatshirt.
Hey, but his uselessness that was also symbolic because we had this discussion. So basically, right? I'm about to be petty as shit this whole conversation because you was giving me so the reason why we're having this conversation, Giggle Gang, is because I posted on Facebook that the movie Us was bad, and that sparked a comment thread, conversation series, people coming all out of the woodworks with their opinions. And I don't know, Shayla, would you say it was 50-50? Did it lean more one way?
I think according on my timeline, it seemed more 50-50. Like some people just outright hated it. Some people was like, it's okay. Some people like loved it. And my thing was like, and I wanted to like let you know that too. Like I wasn't arguing for people to like it. I was just kind of
no.
Yeah.
and that's why I wanted to bring you on the show, because I knew that you were coming from a filmer's perspective. So the movie starts out where Adelaide, Lupita's character, she's a young girl. She's at the Santa Monica Pier with her parents. They're arguing. Her dad wins her a toy. Wins her a prize. It's a Michael Jackson t-shirt. Whoop, whoop. Shout out to Michael. You can't hold a black man down. Anyway, King of Pop forever. Yeah. So she wins. He wins her a Thriller t-shirt. It's set in like 1986 or something like that. So he wins her a Thriller t-shirt. She wanders off into like this fun house. On the fun house, it says "Find Yourself." As she's wandering off, she sees like a homeless dude or a drunk dude. I don't think he was. Yeah, I guess he was homeless at the time. And he has a sign that says Jeremiah 11:11. So I'm taking all of these things in. So she walks into the fun house. She gets lost in the fun house, and then she sees her doppelganger. Is it doppelganger?
Yeah, doppelganger.
Yeah, so she sees her doppelganger, and they see each other. She's frightened and she's trying to get out. So she gets out, right? So she gets out. The parents are looking for her. I think they've called the police. They're looking. Right. So the parents are looking for her. They cut to a scene where they're in therapy and she's looking. She doesn't talk. Her parents just want her to be normal again. And it kind of the first couple of scenes in the movie go back and forth between present day and giving us some background information. So we cut to older Adelaide, Lupita's character, because I don't know if I'm saying her name right. And she's with her family, and her husband, played by M'Baku, and her two kids, her daughter and her son, and they go to this lake house, and immediately, you see that something's off. Like she doesn't want to go. She doesn't want to be there. So it's like, why did they go in the first place? But whatever, they're there. They spend some time in the house. Not before long, their son is like, there's a family standing outside, and that's when we are introduced to these people in these red suits. So they spend the entire movie going back and forth, like being attacked by these people there. And there's this monologue that Red, we're calling her Red, gives, giving some background story into why they're doing what they're doing. Of course, this family doesn't realize that this is happening all across either Santa Monica, the world, California, we America, we're still not sure at this time. And they also have a family. They have family friends as well, who are also on vacation as well. They're a white family, and their doppelgangers come out and kill them immediately. So there's so many twists and turns in the movie. Like, the movie is very, very dense, right? So I don't want to keep going down explaining what the movie, all the scenes of the movie. My critique of the movie, Miss Shayla Raquel, was that the movie was so dense and had so much symbolism that I really have been enjoying the conversation that we've been having online, because it's like, oh, okay, this is something cool to talk about. But I don't want to watch the movie again, because the movie to me was not good. The movie was the movie was a film that had a whole bunch of symbolism in it. And we were then left to put the pieces together. It did not weave the pieces at all succinctly for me. Like, the fact that Hands Across America was something that they kept showing. Like, they kept showing it. You saw an old school commercial and stuff like that. I like to see the nostalgic, like, it's actually a real commercial of this charity campaign that was all across America. And back in the 80s, the United States celebrities, what have you, would do a lot of stuff like that, right? You had Live Aid, you had We Are the World. So Hands Across America was something where they kept showing in the movie, but they never explained how I was supposed to make that connection if I'm under the age of 40 to understand why Hands Across America was used as the method in which Red and the rest of the people in Red, these doppelgangers, locked hands, and like, this was their revolution. Like, there was no digging, but when you did research, you realize that's when you find out that Hands Across America was this charity campaign. You gave $10, and they had a goal of like $30 million. They raised only $36 million, and then after they paid all the overhead and stuff like that, they ultimately only ended up raising half of their campaign. So then you can tie them only raising half of their campaign goal to the song I Got Five on It, because in the actual campaign, the goal was for people across America to give $10 donation. So that's why I Got Five on It continues to be played. One of the reasons why I Got Five on It continues to be played. But if I don't know that while I'm watching the film, you're making me go home to do research so that I can understand what I just watched. Like, why are we doing that? Like, what was the point? Then there's a scene where she's a ballerina. Like, why is this girl dancing here? Like, it was just so much that I was like, uh, uh, no. And then I think one of my major annoyances was that there were so many people that are like, no, it was great. There was so much symbolism. And I'm like, okay, explain it to me. And they would name out the symbols, right? They would be like, oh, this person, she had on a Michael Jackson shirt, or the boy had on a Jaws shirt, and, Jaws was shot in the 80s, and da-da-da. And I'm like, okay, everything that you're telling me, you've given me all the symbols, but you haven't explained to me how these symbols coincide with each other. Like, you haven't made it make sense to me. So I feel like there are a lot of people out here who are like, yo, this movie was so deep, it was so symbolic, but they don't even know what the symbolism is.
So the film is very allegorical, and I will say that it's allegorical and it's dialogue heavy.
Very.
And I'm in between the two. I love the film, but when it comes to like watching this conversation that's happening, I'm kind of, I don't know if you saw like my last Facebook post where I was just like, y'all, it's okay for you to feel all these things. Like,
Yeah.
my issue with people who have been consuming this film, because it's art, and art, you consume it, is that I think because of Get Out, people went in searching for symbolisms and searching and trying to understand every little piece of information that came into the screen, instead of just watching it for what it was and then coming back. That I think that it took them completely out. And when you watch a film, you're supposed to suspend your reality. You're supposed to take yourself out of what is going on in your reality and just immerse yourself into the film and just take it for what it is. When you read a book, you're not analyzing as you read the entire book and then you go, oh, okay. Or you read an entire chapter that a teacher assigned to you, and then you try to analyze. You don't analyze as you're sitting there trying to read. And I think that when it comes to this film, and it's because people knew that Jordan Peele did that with Get Out.
Yeah.
People wanted to have a step of, everybody wanted to be a step above. Everyone knew Get Out was this film full of symbolisms and full of metaphors. And
so was this film. This film was even more so.
I agree that, I wouldn't say it's more so, but I agree that it is full of symbolism.
Right.
But I think people went into it because of how Get Out was. They went into it searching for it instead of just consuming the whole film for what it is, listening to the dialogue, and then afterwards, like, doing their analyzation process. And I think that completely took people out of the film. And so they weren't able to say, you know what, I don't like it, or I did like it. And I think that,
so wait,
do that
really quickly. I hear what you're saying, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like I went into the film trying to understand what I was watching.
Exactly.
Like, not that I was in there analyzing necessarily, but I just wanted to know what I was watching.
You want to know what each piece means, which is still essentially analyzing. But think about when you go watch any other like horror film, you just watch it, and then afterwards you have a discussion with your friends about it. But there's
usually no symbolism in those horror films.
But the thing is, as a filmmaker, there is. Everything that you do as a filmmaker is intentional. You make it from all the way down to the pen that someone uses in the film. It's very, very, very intentional. It is. Every filming is not reality television. You're making a decision about every single thing that's in your frame. So even though you may not feel like, you as an audience member may not feel like there's symbolism, I'm telling you, from a filmmaker standpoint, it is. But what we don't want you to catch, we literally don't want you, we're doing that as a way for us to feel good.
Right.
We want you to just consume the art for what it is. And then you're gonna, when 1,000 people watches something, you're gonna get 1,000 different interpretations. I had a conversation with my friend. And so I was telling her, I was just like, I saw someone tweet saying that Jordan Peele was the J. Cole. And I was just like, y'all, and this is the side where they were just hyping it up.
Right,
and I was like, y'all are doing so much, because Jordan Peele isn't even asking to, he literally was saying, y'all just watch it. Or he said, y'all, it's not about race. Y'all just chill out. Like, it's not.
So that's the thing. I never thought it was about race. It's about classism. That's what I get from it. It's about our inability. My takeaway from the film was, it basically shows us how the homeless crisis in America is something that we have become. It has just become a thing. Like, we just let it be what it is. Like, if it doesn't bother you, if it doesn't affect you, we are numb to it. And I think that this film definitely highlighted it. So it sounds like what you're saying to me is, this was a lesson in the next time we watch a Jordan Peele film, don't be looking for the symbolism. Like, just watch it.
Yeah, just enjoy. I just want people, especially our people.
Because for me, it's hard to enjoy, even because I feel like even if there was nothing for me, there was nothing about that film that I could have just enjoyed,
But
because
like the
it
shot
was so
composition, the lighting,
symbolic.
the acting, you didn't. So take out all the symbolism, the shot composition, the lighting, the acting, the way the camera had framed some, that ending scene where he's like walking into the fire and they edited it with the beat and he was snapping and it's
That
like
was dope.
exactly. So like enjoy, be entertained. I think we as Black people, because we don't get art, we don't get art in a we don't get a lot of art. We
Right.
don't that feature us.
Mainstream.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so we're looking when we finally do get something, we're looking at it to like cure the world. And
Right.
I want us to sometimes like, yes, we may as filmmakers, we may intentionally put things in there, but we really just want our audience to be entertained. Like that is our whole reason of being filmmakers. And so I understand that people go in and they're like looking for the symbols, but we're just like, when you read that book, and you close it and you be like, man, I'm thinking about all the different things. We want you to do the same thing. We want you to just watch it and be like,
I think
afterwards, like, man,
so.
not doing it while you're trying to consume it because you're going to miss things.
I
You're
get
going to
what
miss
you're
that dialogue.
no. So I get what you're saying, and the dialogue that you're referring to, it was a little shaky for me because
So,
it was only one part, and I get it. Like
no, but it was two. It was two.
she explained, but it was kind of like I still don't really get it. So before we even get to that, I hear what you're saying because I'm a strong proponent of being like, yo, like stop it with the black and white and this, that, and the other. Like there are just people who are talented that make entertainment, that make entertaining things and take it for what it is, right? There are plenty of movies and shows that have nothing but white people in them that are terrible. Like they are not good. Like to this day, I don't understand that show. What is it? 2.5 Men. It's been on for like 30 years. I'm like, why is this a thing? So I'm by no means trying to be extremely critical of Jordan Peele in this film, by no means, right? But I also feel like Jordan, along with society and social media, whatever, pegged him as this very symbolic person. This person who he's a comedian. He was on Comedy Central. He did Mad TV, all this good stuff. And then his one film, and I get it. It's only been one film, was so symbolic that we have now pegged him to be the Toni Morrison of sorts of filmmaking.
That he isn't the one doing it. I would argue that the audience is the one doing it. Like
the audience, but what I'm saying is, I didn't say that he was, but he did not stop it. Unless there's film, unless it's documented somewhere where he's like, "Hey, y'all, I'm not trying to be symbolic," but at the same time, you can't tell me that Get Out wasn't super symbolic.
But I want you to remember the conversations around Get Out. Everyone else, Shadow and Act, all of these blogs, they analyzed it. Jordan Peele literally said nothing. He said nothing about Get Out.
And that's what I'm saying. So he did not confirm or deny.
But that's what I'm saying. We're not supposed to. Once we put it, once we put it out, when you paint something, when an artist sculpts something or paints something, they put it into an art gallery and you walk in and it's up for whoever to look at.
It's your own interpretation.
I'm not going to, unless you're sitting at a Q&A, and I could give this example from Riverman. I was sitting at a Q&A, and this is why I really hate I like Q&As, but I hate doing Q&As because we as artists, we just want you to interpret it how you want to interpret it.
Right.
We're just putting our hearts or whatever our brain is on to paper or pen or however we're making art. But as an audience, we just want you to take it and run with it. Mm-hmm. So with Riverman, I had a girl in the film during the Black Lives Matter scene where everybody's like wearing black, white, and gray. She's wearing a Coco Chanel sweatshirt. And someone came to my Q&A and it was just like, the Coco Chanel, tell me about it. Is that feminist theory of Coco from back in da-da-da-da-da? And I was just like, grabs my, no. Like I would not. I refuse to answer. I want you. Like if you think that me choosing, because that was a choice. Me choosing her and telling her instead of wearing the all black hoodie to wear the Coco Chanel. If you think that that's some type of feminist theory, I'm not going to take that from you. And
but what I'm saying. So again, it goes back to because what you're saying is enjoy it, but you're not. But then you're also saying don't interpret it. But this is how I'm interpreting it.
I'm not saying to not interpret it. I'm just saying don't do that while you're consuming. Like
But that's the
consuming.
thing. So I consumed it, right? So this is what I'm saying. I consumed it, I watched it, and I did not know what I watched. But then when I went back and did research and drew, because there was, you know, Shadow Act, and there were different articles that had stuff that I was like, nah, I'm not buying it. So I did take it upon myself to accept the interpretation that made sense to me, right?
Yeah.
Right. So
So
that's that. But for me not to be able to draw those conclusions while I'm in the film, or even right after because I wasn't expecting to get it like, okay, as it's happening, but as I'm sitting down, like I'm trying to tell you, everybody in that theater walked out and was like, what the fuck? Like, I don't get it. So that's where my critique comes in. Like, a film should not have to be so densely immersed in symbolism, whether Jordan did it on purpose or didn't, that I don't get it until after I read something about it. That's my
yeah.
issue. Like with Get Out, and I'm not trying to compare, but I guess I am comparing with Get Out. As I was watching it, there were so many things that I was like, I got while I was in the theater. I was like, oh shit, oh, that makes sense. Like, and these are my interpretations of the symbols, right? But there was still so much that I was like, oh, well, let me go read up on this. And it confirmed my interpretation, or it furthered my interpretation, or it gave me a new outlook to that. While I was watching this film, I literally was like, yo, this is just some dope cinematography, some dope music, beautiful people in this film, and then symbols splattered out throughout each scene, not making no sense, not doing anything. Because again, how am I supposed to know? Like, for prime example, Jeremiah 11:11. We see 11:11 throughout the film multiple times. We see Jeremiah 11:11 throughout the film multiple times. At no point in the film is there a reference to Jeremiah 11:11.
So
Like, I go to church, I believe in God, but I did not know that Bible verse until I read it. Like, I've heard it before. Basically, God basically telling the people of Jerusalem, nah, y'all fucked up. It's over. It's over for you hoes. And so after you get it, after I read it, I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense, because, you know, there was basically an apocalypse and they're killing all the regular people or the real people. But why didn't you tell us that in the movie? Like,
my thing is,
I essentially had to either pull out my Bible app while I was in the theater, or go home and look it up, or be someone who knew what that verse was.
Why do you feel a artist has to? You, from watching it,
so I can understand your work, so I can fully take in your work and appreciate it.
But maybe we just want you to take your understanding and just leave it at that.
But I had no understanding. I left with no understanding. Just tell me what Jeremiah 11:11 is, and so much would have been answered for me. What? So, I get what you're saying. You're right. But for me, that taking that approach, it was not an enjoyable experience for me. And I want to enjoy your work, but for me, it wasn't enjoyable. Like, you literally, it's like you toted this carrot throughout the entire film, and then you didn't even allude to it. I don't need you to explicitly say what it is. You could have alluded to it. Make that a symbol as well for me to see it in there. Like, I didn't know what it was.
I know, but Irene, what I'm saying is, I think how you're feeling is valid. I'm not taking away from how you're feeling. Mm-hmm. But what I'm saying, if watching it from just not trying to analyze it, you see a bloody person holding 11:11 sign, you should automatically say that must be bad. That's all you need. You don't need to.
Duh, I already know. Exactly. I already know that.
That's all you need. And then once you got out the movie theater, you could read into it. But from in that part shouldn't take you out, because all you can say is, when you're watching that, it's like, oh, that must be something bad because he bloody as hell and he got a big.
Obviously, it wasn't something good.
What I'm saying is, I think everything that you're saying, it's valid. I think that if you said that you watched the movie, you didn't get anything from it, and then afterwards you started analyzing, that's fine. My part is that trying to feeling like the things you're seeing is symbols. When it could be, it could not. It's up to your interpretation. But you don't have to feel like everything is symbols. Just watch it.
I didn't
And
feel like
then,
everything was symbols, but
and
I'm analytical by nature, right?
yeah.
So if you're
That's what
gonna,
I'm saying. I feel like everyone's viewpoint of how they feel about the film is valid.
right.
Everyone, like you, as an artist, we just want you to consume the art and you come up with your own. I hate telling people what my thought process was when I chose for her to wear red in the middle of a whole bunch of green trees versus like I don't want you. I want you to consume it and you come up with your own reasons. And I'm never, as an artist, going to tell you. I'm never ever going to co-sign with what it was. Like, for instance, everybody was like, the rabbits, what the rabbits mean this. And Jordan Peele grabbed the mic and said, I was scared of rabbits when I was a kid. That's it. Like, it's like
that's it.
I put rabbits in there because I was scared of them. That's it. Like, and so I think that this is a bigger picture of, I'm thinking of black people as a whole. I think we are looking for each of our films to be the answer to all social, economic, political, this, that, and the third. And
no, I don't think so. I think this is a unique situation because it is Jordan Peele. Like, you have the movie Little that's coming out. I'm not expecting that to change. Where I'm expecting to go and laugh at, at the women in that film. Like,
I'm telling you, if you go see Little, there's going to be intentional symbols in that. So why can't you go? This is a horror. So why can't you go and consume this as a regular horror without feeling that way, and then saying, okay, I can see how like different things were actual symbols.
I can answer that for you because for me personally, I don't go see horror films. The only horror films that I see, listen, that's not my bag. But if it's a horror film that's done by a Black person, i.e. Jordan Peele, I go see it. So, and I don't really consider his horror as more like suspense thriller, but we'll give him that title. I mean that category if that's what it is. But yeah, he's the only person that I go see, and then it might be like one other film that one other horror film that I go see. But no, and it's the same thing. Like, it's the same way where you analyze a drama differently than you do a comedy. Like, you're not looking for no symbolism in comedy. So, and I know. Well, see, but you just go in there with an open mind.
My point is, I know that's what I'm saying. So, like, if you're doing that to this, why aren't you doing it to other? What I'm saying is, don't do it to any of them. Go in there, enjoy it for the entertainment that a movie is. This wasn't a documentary.
Right.
This was a horror film. Go in there, enjoy it as a horror film, and then afterwards, think about all of the different images that you see and come up with your own. It's just the same thing as writing a term paper in college. When you had to write your English paper and you had to write it on whatever thing it was, and you came up with your own little theories. Some of them you may have been right on spot with the author. Some of you didn't. But the thing is, the author wasn't there for you to co-sign or not co-sign. And that's the same thing with every other art. Yeah.
Listen, I totally get that. I think that this is a unique situation because it is Jordan, it's the bag that he's been going with. Like you said, he didn't say anything. He also didn't stop it. So
they're not. As an artist, we're not going to stop it.
But if as an artist, you're not going to stop it. But for me, and you can correct me, you can check me if this is incorrect. I don't know that many artists right now who people are talking about the symbolism of their film. Like, not even Lena, not even Ava. Like, we
definitely with Ava, especially in the film circle. Definitely with Ava.
But you're getting niche in the film circle. I'm talking about regular social media. When we went to go see 13, like, that's different. I mean, when we watched 13 on Netflix, like, that's different. Like, it's a documentary. But like her films, like, and then like, no, I've never seen conversations where people are like, oh, let's talk about the symbolism of this film that Lena was in or that Lupita was in or what have you. Like, I think it's because it's Jordan Peele, and
Jordan Peele didn't ask for y'all to do that to his stuff. Everyone else did. I know, but my thing is, everyone. I understand that's how, because that's what people are going to do. Right. People want to be the commentary queens. People want to be able to get on right after they watch a movie, get on Twitter and write a whole thread. But my thing is, like, I I'm opposed to that as a filmmaker and as an artist. Like, I just want, I can speak for a lot of a lot of different filmmakers and artists here. We just want y'all to consume our art. Like, that's the reason why we hate Q&As. We hate like giving y'all the insights to our brand. We just want y'all to consume, because we want y'all to come up with your own thing. And if your own, like, if after consuming it, your viewpoint is I didn't like it, that is absolutely fine. I know it's people who didn't like it because I didn't win all the awards.
Right.
And I know it's people who probably didn't understand the quote unquote symbolisms that I had put in River Mint, because like I said, I didn't win all the awards, but it's okay because there was somebody who did.
But if you're telling a story, don't you want people to understand what was in your head? Or
no, as an artist, we're doing this for us. This is for us.
Then why are you sharing it with us?
Because that is the point of art. It's for you guys to we're doing, like I said with Quarter Century, I was having a quarter life crisis. So in order for me, my choice of coping mechanism, like everyone has their coping mechanism. Some choose drugs. I didn't choose drugs. I chose to write it on paper and film it and then just put it out in the world. And everyone's interpretations of whatever they came up with when it came to Quarter Century, that's on them. But that was and it's okay to do. That's what every artist does it for.
I totally listen. I hear what you're saying. What I'm telling you is, you are, and you and I, we don't know Jordan, and you're saying that this is not what Jordan.
I follow him on Twitter.
I know, and this is what he's telling you. I'm trying to tell you, there are so many things that are easily left for interpretation. I'll put it like that. Like, he didn't have to use hands across America, but obviously he wanted us to dig deeper into that. You know what I mean? He didn't have to use I got 5 on it. He didn't have to use fuck the police when old girl was like, call the police. And like, so I hear what you're saying. I know, but what I'm saying is, I hear what you're saying, but I do feel like Jordan knows what he's doing. I feel like Jordan be like, you know what? This is going to get them talking. I'm going to put this in. Well, I'm going to do that. Like, because again, there is so much symbolic shit in this movie that, again, it was a whole bunch of symbols thrown onto film. And it was like, okay, now y'all make it make sense. And that's not always a thing. Like, again, I feel like everything he put in that film was intentional. And if it was intentional, it was meant for people to interpret.
No. Filmmaking is intentional. I said that in 20 minutes ago when we were talking. Everything about filmmaking, when it comes to narrative film, is intentional. We make a decision all the way down to the very pen that we have our character use if they're writing. Everything is intentional. But is it intentional for us as a filmmaker, for you all to to understand the thought process behind every decision we make in a film?
If people are extremely interested in your film, yes. So if you're telling me that in your film, we're going to use this pen right here. Like, this is you in the writer's room. We're going to use this pen right here because da 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 da. And if I'm watching the film and I see that pen and I pick it up as a symbol, I now want to know, why did Shayla Raquel decide to use that particular pen? Well, the reason why, like that. You have just opened the door. You have just invited me to be ultra analytical.
We just want you. But I'm agreeing with you. We're saying the same thing right here. Okay. I'm agreeing with you. There is going to always be that one person in the crowd who catches it. And that's all we care about. We don't care. Like, we're not doing it purposely for you to like make sure you catch every single last symbol in it. No. When I chose the girl and told her to wear a Coco Chanel shirt, somebody was going to understand. But am I going to sit here and every time like I do a Q&A, say it in the mic to make sure that everybody in the audience understood the reason why I had told her to wear? No, that's not real.
So let me ask you a question. Okay, so wait. So did you purposely tell the girl to wear Coco Chanel?
I purposely took, she had 2 jerseys. But was there a reason behind me saying her wear Coco Chanel over that? No, not as like a depth. Oh, Coco Chanel was this pioneer, yada, yada, yada.
Right. But what I'm saying, you liked it. You liked the Coco Chanel. And it just so happened that Coco Chanel does represent some form of femininity, blah, 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 blah. What I'm saying to you is, I am not 100% convinced that that's why Jordan put 90% of the things in his film.
My point is we don't know, so just take it for what you think it is and be okay with that. That's my whole point.
People,
like,
I think
agree
people
with
are
you.
okay with it. Yeah.
I agree with you. My whole point is just whether you caught things or you didn't, take
Right.
it and then just be okay with that. Say either A, I like it. I'm a completely agree.
No,
say I like it. Say I don't like it. But I think where I'm getting caught up is people's like, it was just too many. It was just too much. And I'm just like, just watch it. If it was too much for you, watch it as a regular horror film like The Strangers or
that's the
all
thing.
these other random.
We're not gonna watch it again. So I get what you're saying, and I totally get. I understand.
Not watch it again, but watch it. Like,
watch it. And I know that we're saying the same thing, and that you agree with me. What I'm speaking to is because there's been all this back and forth, and people thinking that it's so dense and heavy, and this, that, and the other. As a I know me as a creative, when I put something out there, I do want people to like it. Now, if you don't like it, hey, that's your cup of tea. But I want people to like it. And for me, again, this film I did not like because it was so heavy, and it was so, and when I say heavy, symbolism heavy, and it was like, okay, you're not helping me draw any of these conclusions. And the fact that I, again, enjoy the conversation, because I'm loving these conversations, because I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. Like, all right, I can see that. It does not make me like the film. I like the message, like, okay, this is cool. But we had to go left, right, around the mulberry bush, under the bridge, down the street, around the corner, go through this rabbit hole to eventually get the point of the film. And I'm just kind of like,
And my point is, as filmmakers, we don't have to explain everything to you. That's like we don't have to.
And that's fine. See if I support another film. No, I'm joking.
I'm saying, and you know, like, and if people don't like it because it isn't explained, we're okay with that, because we like, that's fine. It's for the people who do like it and do overanalyze it. We're okay with that. Like, that's my whole.
No, I get it. Like, so listen, I'm going to continue to support Jordan because I think what he's doing is dope. I think it's amazing. Listen,
Twilight Zone coming out next. I know people are going to
that's
a donkey with that.
Come on now. It's Twilight Zone.
And they got something to compare it
exactly.
To. So
it's Twilight Zone. And Twilight now Shayla, come on now. Twilight Zone was nothing but symbolism. Nothing but symbolism, suspense, thriller. Like, it's going to be amazing. And that's what I'm saying. Like, Jordan, this is his bag. This is his realm. So I hear what you're saying, but I really feel like when Jordan is in that writer's room and he's writing this stuff, he knows what he's doing. I'm
not disagreeing with you on that.
Yeah. And I get it.
Whether your audience, whether he cares, whether y'all get it or not, that is where the issue lies.
Right.
When I'm writing, every time I write a color, it's because of a meaning. Like, everything.
No, I get it.
So whether you as the person watching it, if you catch it, I mean, I've already put it out. It ain't got nothing to do with me now. Like, and you're not going to get a chance to ask me no questions. So, thankfully, because I don't want to have to sit there and do that. Like, okay, that's all I'm saying. But yeah,
yes. So that was that was a pretty deep conversation. I knew it was going to get there. I said I need to get you on the show because we over here going back and forth.
I don't be writing on Facebook. Like, I know,
but like Dex told me, he was like, you done got people riled up. And I was like, listen, man, that movie was not good, but I'm loving this conversation. I'm intrigued. I'm interested. So if the purpose of the movie was to have this type of dialogue, if the purpose of the movie was to get people on polar opposites, you know, for it to polarize people, listen, it did its thing. But I will, like I said, I will be honest, I was more so annoyed with people who were like, yeah, I got it, it was great, and the symbols that they were giving me, I'm like, nah, that ain't it, dog.
No, like, you got to flex.
Like, you're not helping me understand. Like, you telling me what I saw. I saw the same shirt that you saw. I saw the same.
You have flexors bird on that both you saw. Sides. You have flexors on both sides, and that's why I said I sit.
That was what more so annoyed me, because I was like,
I was getting annoyed by both sides. Like, the ones who was like, "Oh, y'all. If you didn't get it, you just have low into
right." Like, one person was like, "Delete this post." And I was like, they were like, "Oh, I got it." I was like, "So you gonna explain?" And they never explained, and I was like,
it was both sides was coming heavy.
Like, bro, you just talking right now. Like, help me understand.
Me sitting in the middle, I'm just like, yes, I loved it, but I just want, if you didn't like it, cool. If you do like it, cool. But stop all these jabs and stop expecting it to be like like this thing that's going Harriet Tubman, boom, 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 to
Yeah.
freedom, us out of this. Like that's
Yeah, that's not what it is. But yeah, I appreciate you. Thank you. This was pretty robust conversation
Hey.
here. Before we get out of here, I'm gonna let the folks know what I'm listening to, what's in my beats. So just the other day I was listening to, what was I listening to? I was probably listening to Apple Music or something like that. And this song comes on and I was like, okay, I don't know if I'm gonna like this. But then there's a part of the song where the guy uses Michael Jackson, the he uses that as like a part of the chorus. And I was just like, immediately I was intrigued. So A Boogie with the Hoodie is his
Hey.
name. And the name of the song is Look Back at It. And it's a dope song. I think it's a vibe. It's a little bit of a vibe or whatever. But I love the way that he used an ad lib of the great Michael Jackson to be a part of the chorus. So y'all check it out. A Boogie with the Hoodie. Look Back at It.
Hey.
So I'll put that in post production. So yes, good people. Yes, that was A Boogie with the Hoodie. Listen, I'm trying to tell y'all don't have to like what I like, but I feel like what I like is lit. So yes, that's my guy, A Boogie with the Hoodie. Look Back at It. Shout out to MJ. I only like the song because of the shout out to Remember the Time. And yeah, that's what's in my beats this week. Shayla. We are at the end of the show. You chopped it up with me.
Hey.
You schooled me a little bit on this film thing. We agree.
Yeah.
I'm still on the fence.
I feel you.
But I'm still gonna support. Like I said, I'm not turning away. Like Jordan didn't do nothing to me. Like I'm still gonna watch
I'm
his
just telling
film.
you.
Look at
When you come see my feature film, don't be going in there talking about some. I don't understand it because
listen. I'm
Shayla,
just
I ain't dealing with your feels no more because
listen. Listen. I'm not trying to mess up the bag because I'm trying to do like a hosting event or something like that for one of your upcoming. So you got to. I'm about to be your best critic. Oh, this is amazing. This is the best film ever. Ava who? Lena. Spike what? It's all about Shayla. You ain't got to worry about. Listen, I don't mess up the money. I don't mess up the good situations. But no, I'm super proud of you. And I'm glad that you're doing what you're doing. I love creatives. Y'all know that about me. I love creatives, and I love to see people that I know personally go out and get it. So the grind is real. I've watched you progress. Super proud of you. And I'm super humbled and glad that you took some time out of your busy schedule, because I know you got film festivals and stuff like that all week, to sit down with me this good evening and chop it up about some randomness and then get into this movie, this Jordan Peele movie. So shout out to you. Before we get out of here, how can people get in contact with you? Are there any upcoming screenings coming up? Like, plug yourself. Tell us, give us the rundown.
Definitely. So you can find me on all social media platforms at Shayla Raquel. That's SHAYLA That's Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. If you go into the bio of those, you'll see my website and Linktree, and that's where you'll find all upcoming screenings and film festivals that we'll be at. If you're looking for more information about the latest film, Riverment, the website is RIVERMENT film.com, and you'll find all the information of our screenings, awards, press, and things of that sort there too.
Awesome. Well, we are at the end of the show. This was dope. Thank you so much for chopping it up with me, Shayla.
Thank you for having me. This was fun.
I'm glad you had a good time. Thanks for chopping it up with me and the Giggle Gang. We love to hear fresh voices, and you out here doing things. Don't forget about the girl when you blow up. Okay.
Please,
I'd hate to have to fuck some shit up. Okay. But shout out to you, and thanks for joining me this evening. This was dope.
Thanks for having me. Anytime,
You're
anytime.
very welcome. So before we get out of here, you know what it is, Shayla. Go ahead and tell the people bye, holla back, peace. Just say bye to the Giggle Gang.
Bye, guys. Bye.
What the fuck? Holla back, y'all. Yo, really, Shayla? See y'all next week. Yo, this was dope. This was dope. I had a